Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Jamie Photography. So in this video, we're going to do a relatively quick edit of a scene that I took in Poole Harbour, a wonderful place in Dorset in southern England. And we were there for the day on the beach, and this chap turns up with his boat, and it really, lent itself to a good shot. However, the picture that I took was actually this shot. It was a bright sunny day, blue sky, and it lended itself to a sky replacement. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this image, we're going to turn it into a lovely sort of sunset image with lots of colour like this, so it really pops, and I'll show you how it's done. So let's get started. So this picture, as I just described, is taken in Poole Harbour, and nice sunny day, blue sky, perfect summer's day. And as you can see, it's 1600th of a second, f4, ISO 100. Now you might say, well, why shoot f4? Well, what I wanted to try to do, because that was the maximum aperture of the lens I had, the 24-105 f4 Sony lens, was I wanted to focus on the boat, and I wanted to just have just a little bit of out of focus for the background and maybe the foreground. As it turns out, the foreground is reasonably well in focus. It's pretty clear down there, but it's not too bad. So I wanted to try to just sort of draw the focus towards the center of the image a little bit. But what we're going to do is we're going to carry out a sky replacement, because blue sky is boring, and then we're going to bring a little bit of magic to this scene to try to make it look a little bit better. So it's a nice shot. This boat just turned up on the day, and we were on the beach, and I thought it would make a good photograph. So I'm going to pop over into Photoshop. So we're going to send this over there. So we're going to click on Edit In, and then we're going to edit in Adobe Photoshop 2022. So we're going to click on that, and there it goes. It's popped over into Photoshop. Now the first thing I'm going to do before I do a sky replacement is I want to get rid of this more modern yacht that there is in the distance there. So if I hold down the Option or Alt key and wheel my mouse, I can zoom in a little bit on that boat. So the more modern yacht there in the distance. So I think we'll take that out. Now probably the best way to do this here is with the stamp tool. So the clone stamp tool, you can press F to obtain it, or you can just click on it here in the toolbar. So I'm not going to have too big a brush, but I'm going to come over here and I'm going to take a stamp from over here on the water level, as you can see. So I'm going to hold down the Option or Alt key and click there, which means I now take a copy of that. I'm going to come over here and line it up with the water over here, and then I'm just going to paint through and then just go up as such, like that, into the sky, and it's removed the boat completely. One pass. It's pretty good. So more than happy with that. So we're just going to have a look around the scene as well. So I'm just going to hold down the Option or Alt key again and zoom out just a little bit, and then I'm just going to hold down the space bar so I can just move around. So it looks to me like there is possibly some people swimming over there. So we're just going to take the spot healing brush, J, nice and small, nothing too big, and just click on these individuals and just remove them from the water there, which is good. Moving across, you can see a house in the distance there. Maybe I'll take that out because again it might be a little bit distracting, so I'm just going to use a spot healing tool there, and it will just literally paint the trees in its place. A little bit of rubbish over there on the ground, so we'll get rid of that. So looking at the boat, I love the fact that his shoe is on the beach there. I'll probably take his shoe out, but there we go, his shoe's on the beach. So just cutting through, nothing more really there. And then just having a look at the ground coming in. I'm just going to take that stone out there. Just going to take that out. And there's a little bit of seaweed here. Got rid of that. Just tidy up the scene. So there's nothing that's distracting from the main scene. I'm just going to take out these little bubbles in the water. Whilst we're here, it doesn't take 2 seconds to do it. There we go. And just a little mark there. And I'll just take out that little wiggle in the water. There we go. So, Option Alt key to zoom out, wheeling the mouse. So we're back to the full image. We've got rid of the things that we want to get rid of there. I'm wondering whether actually to take out this little bit of grass here as well, a little bit distracting there. So I'm just going to use the spot healing brush there as well. And just paint that out as well. There you go. Super. So we can now go to the edit and sky replacement module. So click on that, and it brings up the sky replacement module, and whichever the sky was that was already in there, it throws it into the scene. So we're just going to use the little pull down arrow and have a look what we've got already loaded in there. Some interesting skies. Anything that I think we could use. Oh, that's a crazy sky. Let's have a look at that. Bit much. Yeah, still too much. I wonder if the sun would work. Yeah, I could do. I'm just gonna try some of the other skies here. Nope, nothing there really that I think. So there's a little plus box down here, and if you have skies loaded in your folders, you can jump across to those, and you can go into to your sky folder. Here we go, and we can look at sunsets and sunrises. Now, good thing with the Mac is that you can highlight a particular file, and you can press spacebar and it will open it up to show you can see. So we're still in the ready to load module, but we can actually have a look. And then if I just use the down cursors, I can actually just go through and look at the skies that we've got here and see if there's anything there that I think, wow, yeah, I could use that. Didn't see anything there that jumped out at me. So I'm just going to go into Burst of Drama. Let's have a look, see what's in Burst of Drama. So just looking through. I'm wondering whether, going back a little bit, I'm wondering whether this might work. So that's number 25. So I'm going to click open and it will load it in here, and then I can click on it and it will put it in. Now if I swap it round the other way, so if I just click away from these files at the moment, just this little space, it gets rid of that, and then I can click the flip button and maybe flip it the other way. We can always make the water darker over here. I'm not happy with that. No, I'm going to continue to look to see what else there is. So we were at 25. So it's quite nice. Let's try that one, number 7. Program error. Let's try that again. There we go. So again, click away from that, try the flip to bring the light over to this side. I think that could work well. Now we can we should be able to adjust the sky in the background by literally just grabbing hold of it and moving it up and down. You can see there's the bottom of it there, but if I bring that down just behind the trees there, we can get sort of the light coming from that direction over there. I think that works quite well. And then I'm just going to move the fade edge over, so we get a sort of, it almost brightens over the edge there a little bit with the sunlight, which looks quite good. And then shift edge as well. Too much, as you can see, it's taken the hills away in the distance there, so bring that back just so we can I think that's quite nice there. We can add more color to the sky here by using the temperature slider. We can add a little bit more there, not too much, let's not go crazy. We can just bring it down a little bit darker, so it's the evening time. And then foreground lighting, we can move that to either give us more or less. You can see if we move it over this way, that brightens up over here, and if we go all the way to the other side, that darkens down over there. And the edge lighting deals with the light between the sky and the horizon. So again, we can move that to just see if it brings any benefits from one side to the other. I think, to be honest, it's probably best around about there. And then we've got some color adjustment as well. We can bring some of that sky color into the foreground by sliding this across. You see that works very well. Brings that color in. So that looks pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that now. I don't need to deal with the edge. I think the edge looks okay. That seems to be okay. The tree top there seems to be all right. And just moving across. Yeah, we will need to just crop the edge out there, but that looks fine to me. So zoom back out again using the Option or key in the wheel on your mouse. So I'm going to just create, rather than new layers, I'm just going to create a duplicate layer. New layers will give you all the separate layers for the sky creation, about 6 or 7 different layers. So you can go in and alter them individually, but I personally just like to have a duplicate layer. I'll click OK, and you can see that it's created that layer at the top called background copy. I don't need the one behind now, so I'm going to delete that layer. So I right clicked on it, selected delete. And I think I'm ready to take this back into Lightroom and finish the edit. So I'm going to go to File, Close, and then Save. Okay, so not File Save, because then it just sends it back to the folder position and you'd have to resynchronize Lightroom. If you do File, Close, Save, it goes straight back into Lightroom, and there it is, as you can see. So we're just going to take the crop tool, then just going to take the edge off of that side, going to bring the top down a little bit, bring the bottom up a little bit, and look to see whether there's a 16:9 alternative there. Just make that a little bit bigger. There we go. Accept that. So we've got the sun and the sky over here. We've got quite a nice sky, but I think we need to do a little bit more to that sky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into masks, select the sky. Okay, there it is. And then I'm going to add some contrast to the sky and add some clarity to the sky. Not too much. Powerful tool, clarity. And add a little bit more color and some magenta, just to balance that sky off a little bit. Again, not too much. Bring up saturation just a little bit. That looks quite good. So we will need to bring that color into the foreground on the reflection over here. But before we do, I think I need to make this a little bit brighter in the distance there. So I'm going to create a new mask, go to radial gradient, and I'm just going to pull in a radial gradient over there. And I'm just going to bring that brightness up just a little bit more. Add a little bit more contrast to it, a bit more clarity. And yeah, that's looking good. But I'm going to subtract from this the ground here. So I'm going to subtract the sky, okay, and then but we're going to do the inverse of the sky. There we go. So we've effectively taken away what isn't the sky from that radial filter. Okay, so now we're going to add a little bit more drama to the scene. So we're going to darken down the top and the bottom. We're going to draw the light towards this area on the left. So we're going to go to create a new mask, go to linear gradient, and we're going to pull a linear gradient in from the side like this. Here, I'm going to add a bit more blue to that sky because it's great to have the opposite sides of the colour wheel. Opposite sides of yellows and oranges is blues and purples. So we'll add a bit of blue there. And we'll just darken it down just a little bit, not too much. Now we'll do the same with the bottom. So we'll right click on this filter and we'll duplicate this mask. We'll spin it round and we will bring that up from the bottom in a similar way, so that we've got that blueness there, but we're going to darken this down just a little bit more over here now. There we go. That's looking good. So I want to bring in some of that color, so I'm going to create a radial gradient over here, and I'm just going to bring that into this sort of, I'm going to start near the boat, pull it out a little bit further. I'm just going to add a little bit more color to that area, bring up the magenta just to balance the color. You notice if you just bring up the temp and just add, I'll add a lot there, you'll see you get this lurid color, which has a lot of green in it, and that's because you need to always balance your color with your magenta. So if I bring that back a little bit and then bring the magenta up, you will see that it balances that color out. So just bring that back a little bit more there. So we've got this orange sort of reflection from the sky up there coming into this area here. That's looking pretty good. Just going to make it a little bit bigger. There we go. I'm wondering whether to open the shadows up just a little bit on that one. There we go. And add a little bit of clarity, just a little bit. Right, I also want to make the boat pop, so I'm going to create another mask, this time a brush. I'm going to make sure the feathers at maximum flows about 40%. I'm going to add some contrast and some clarity, and I'm just going to take a small brush and I'm just going to paint over this boat just to make it pop. And always remember to paint in their reflections on the water. It's always important to do that. That's good. Right, so now I think we just need to emphasize this dark areas and these light areas a little bit more. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to come out of the masks now. I'm going to go down to effects and I'm just going to put in a post crop vignette, about 25, maybe a little bit more. And then I'm going to go to the feather slider inside and I'm going to take that to 100. So it just opens up this scene a little bit more on this side. And then I think we're going to take another mask, this time another linear gradient, and bring it in from this side of the screen just to take away a little bit more brightness on that side, so it's coming in through here. And then I think over here we want to try to bring this darkness down a little bit, so again create another radial gradient, this time over this way, and just bring a little bit of color to that and darken it down just a little bit, not too much, just a little bit over there. Just going to bring that down a little bit more this way. So it sort of draws you to the left, it draws you into the image. That's looking pretty good. Now I still think we need to do more with the sky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a brush, keep it at 100% feather, reduce that flow back, add in big chunk of clarity, a little bit of contrast, and I'm just going to take a small brush and just run along these edges of the clouds just to give them a little bit more presence as you're looking at them. It just sort of brings a bit more detail in without adding too much clarity to everything. So a little bit bigger brush there, just catch those. There you go. That looks pretty good. I just got those clouds there are looking okay. So good stuff. So I think we're pretty well close to being done there. I'm going to try and reduce, or just come out of the masks. I'm just going to try to reduce the overall saturation just a little bit, and then I'm going to bring the vibrance right up to make it pop. Now the vibrance gives you contrast, but in the color, and that's always a nice thing to have, is contrast in the color. And as you can see, that gives you quite a nice effect when you bring that up. Do we need clarity? Any clarity as a whole? I don't think we do. In fact, we might even go for slightly, just to back off the clarity for the overall scene, just a little bit. And a little bit of texture to bring it in there. Now I'm just going to open the shadows up just a little bit more because it will lift this boat up a little bit more in the scene. And you know what? I think just maybe a whisker on the blue. No, I think we're going to leave that where it was. So I'm going to try a little bit of magenta. Again, not too much because the sky loses its way quite quickly. Now I'm just going to check the noise. So I'm just going to zoom in and see how much noise we've got. You know, the noise levels are pretty low. I'm quite happy with that image, so I'm not going to need to do anything with the noise and the sharpness. So but I will, because the noise is so low, just add a little bit more sharpness to the overall scene. There we go. Just makes that pop a little bit more, perhaps even a little bit more on the sharpness. And I think we have a finished image. So it's just a quick edit, but I think it gives you a good idea. Putting a sky replacement in on a blue sky can really bring a picture alive. A little bit of editing just to take out a few bits and pieces to just make it look like this boat is here on its own. And yeah, that was a lovely day in Poole Harbour. So I think we'll leave it there. So if you like the video, please tick the like button, and love you to subscribe so we can follow my channel as we go forward. And also, if you've got any comments or any points you'd like to raise, feel free to put them below. I love reading your comments and questions that you have, and I do my best to answer all of them. So thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.